GM, everybody. How are you doing? It is Monday morning. We are back with another episode of Morning Mint. We are live here on X, YouTube, and you can find this in podcast form after the fact. I've got a lot planned to talk about today. A lot of busy things happening over the weekend. But the number one thing you should know is the markets are up, and that means your bags are up. A lot of crazy shit happened this weekend. First rug on blast, we are seeing Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana recovering from their little pullbacks that we saw Friday. We are also seeing them starting to break through ceiling and support levels. I'm expecting us to get to this bull run high over this week. Ethereum looking like 4,000 is not impossible. Bitcoin also making all-time highs does not seem too far off either. We also had some pretty big launches and some pretty big NFT activity, not only within the Ethereum ecosystem, but especially within Ordinals. And we do have some things to talk about from some announcements and news that we saw come out throughout other creators and other projects that we see building. I'm going to speak on that, but welcome back, and I'm glad to see everyone here for week 4. Getting back into the swing of things. Pretty solid weekend over here. Hope everybody else had a good weekend. I picked up this pretty sweet hoodie. We'll talk about that actually in a second. More and more friends and NFT and different articles of clothing in my closet at this point. Like I said a second ago, we are seeing more activity within the bull market. We'll just pull up Ethereum real quick here on the screen, pushing 3160. It does feel like the entire market right now is in bull send mode, right? Things look hot. Ethereum pushing 3160, Bitcoin at 53,400 currently, up 3%. Solana lagging just a tad. It's interesting. I do think that if you miss this pump, there could be some good opportunities to hop into Solana there and ride that up. Now, I am also looking across the altcoin market. Again, everything is fully getting bid on right now. Some God candles coming out of Bitcoin. There are some absolute chads buying this up right now. It's very clear. There's a lot of volume. I didn't actually pull this up, but we'll check on the Dune analytics for BTC ETF inflows. You should have that bookmarked and be looking at it. But as you can see, across the entire market right now, altcoins, especially ones that I'm looking at, getting bids, pushing higher on the morning. Now, I do want to highlight that we're going to see more and more activity around the L2 ecosystem. There were some L2 announcements over the weekend, actually even this morning, that are worth noting, but also keep an eye on Blur. We did see Blur again push all the way over the 80-cent mark. It is pulling back a little bit. This is something that if you do want exposure around the Blast ecosystem in another way, opportunities here. But I do think again there's some opportunity cost to where you're putting your money. We can talk a little bit more about that later in the show as well. Happening in the NFT market, like I said, more volume, and we are seeing a lot of activity. As far as trending goes, Moonbirds pulling back more and more from their highs that we saw happening previously. We are seeing Sappy Seals also rip higher. Airdrop season meta is a thing. Gonna see it's not going away. I'm gonna keep talking about this every show. You can keep putting in chat to stop talking about it. I'm still gonna do it. It's gonna become a meta. If your founder's not out there absolutely hustling their ass off and trying to get airdrops and trying to get different ways to get their ecosystem integrated into new things that are launching and give you opportunity, you're missing out. And it's very clear that Sappy Seals, obviously Creeps team through Portal is going to have a massive airdrop coming here. We are seeing those push over 5 ETH. We've seen the Pudgy Penguins not even doing any of the outreach, continue to get more and more bids and buys and holders looking to capitalize on that opportunity. And I don't think it stops there. I think that as we see more people hop onto this trend and we see more people networking and trying to figure out how to do this in a sustainable way, it just continues to flywheel and snowball. We talk about it also every show. Where are the Penguins and where are the Apes? Board IP Yacht Club recovering decently from the lows all the way up to 23.2. Well, not all the way, but strength is still there. Holding 23.2 ETH. Pudgy Penguins, though, having a little bit of a pullback, totally healthy. Again, they did move very quickly up. 18.5 ETH, just under the 20 ETH floor. And we are seeing some other activity, especially within the generative art space. We did have a drop over the weekend that we'll talk about in a little bit. But the real highlight of the NFT market has to be ordinals. Ordinals, melting faces, real quick. I talked about this previous show as well. Nice consolidation range on No Monks. And we did see once it got to this first breakout, it continued. Now pushing 0.4 Bitcoin floor. Insane. $25,000 plus almost to get into No Monks. And then Bitcoin Puppets following the same trend. OMB following the same trend. It's very clear ordinals are heating up, and the airdrop season over there is also starting to heat up. Again, there are so many different things popping off, happening. You're going to need to keep a lot of these on your radar, and also it does help to have some diversification. If you are being a maxi right now, you could hit it big, but you also are going to miss a lot of other things that are happening that could be fueling you and allowing you to rotate those wins into other things and other bets. Before we hop into some of the other topics we're going to talk about today, I do want to give some highlights. I got 3 highlights here from over the weekend. Obviously, ETH Paris was happening. I was going to say Denver. That's coming up this week. ETH Paris, W3, Web3 football had an amazing event. I just want to highlight a little bit of that. OSF competed. I know we had Wizards Soho compete, Pudgy Penguins. We had a whole bunch of people out there, but they really, really executed this event well. It's led by my good friend Andrew Wang, and I want to give some roses because they absolutely murdered that event. Also, like I said, picked up this hoodie over the weekend from the very talented Vinny Hager. He is going to have a restock today. I did get to walk into the stock room. You're going to want to buy quickly. They're going to go quick. I know there's a lot of demand. And I also was on the thought process of not wanting the blue until I saw it. Because they did have black, but they've sold out of those. These are hot. And the quality is so good. It's worth every penny. I'm so glad I got one. If you're on the fence or you're thinking about it or you're looking to add to your wardrobe, pick one of these up. Cannot give you enough like love or praise or how nice this hoodie is. Just amazingly done. Also, as much as I talk about the news here and I go over things, as always, if you want up-to-date daily news as things happen with incredible research and analysts going into the details of that news, go check out Fluid.com. That is an amazing news site within the Web3 and crypto ecosystem. They are putting out new content daily. The number one thing that I'm going to keep talking about is Blast. Blast Big Bang competition finally wrapping up on Friday, and we had some absolute bangers. We are above the 2 billion TVL mark, and the users continue to get onboarded. It's going to continue onboarding. We're going to keep seeing more bridging happening. We did see a whole bunch of different categories enter, and we did have a whole bunch of different winners. Here are the categories: perp dexes, spot dexes, lending protocols, NFTs and gaming, socialfi, gamblefi, infrastructure, and then just miscellaneous shit that doesn't make any sense, etc. Meme coins, all these other things. And they did have a pretty strict judging criteria. And yeah, we can hop into some of those winners below here and what it means. Let me grab that link. Well, wait. I don't see the link. I'm rugging myself live again. Classic. Oh wait, no, this just broke. Let me make sure this is correct. The winners came out, and I'm not super surprised. I have talked a lot about these on the stream and on the show. Ambient Finance, a DEX, an AMM, was the number one, I believe. I'm not sure if these are in order of winners, actually, but they definitely have my attention, and I know more people have been talking to them. But the number one that I thought had its opportunity alongside Juice was Thruster winning the Dex. We did also see Juice win. We saw Fantasy win, Particle win. We saw IKB win, Insert win, YOLO Games win. Blaster won, Munchables, which we mentioned, won. What else did I mention? Hyperlock won. I was pretty solid on like the calls I thought had a chance at winning this of the 3,000 entries. Again, I talked to dozens and dozens and dozens of teams, and it's pretty clear also who was being pretty active and who has been building far longer than when this was announced. I do want to again let you guys know you can find this on blastpublic.notion.site, Big Bang Winners, or you can go to their X account, go check there and see the link for yourself. You can scroll through this and also see the runners up. Now, understand all these winners are getting rewards from Blast, and those rewards will be used in different ways, but the majority use that we see across the board is all of those rewards being given back to users, and that being a way to increase yield and incentives to be using their products. The larger winners that offer the larger incentives are going to be the areas to go interact with. And it's also going to be pretty imperative that you go and see where the attention isn't as much and there's more opportunity to win some of those, some of that yield and that reward based within this. Now, Thruster's going to have a ton of users and a ton of daily active people on it. However, if you are, and obviously trading, if that's something you're doing, then go there. However, if you're using Juice and you have just a shit ton of money, or you have a ton of money and you're looking to get exposure, farm points, etc., or put into high APR farming, then go there. You're not going to be able to do as much if your strategies don't line up, such as Insert or IKB or YOLO. If you're only going to gamble like once or twice, it doesn't make sense to, or in a very small gambles or very small in volume. It doesn't make sense to make that your focus. You're going to have to find one that aligns with your use cases. Now, I do think that throughout all of these, fantasy .top is one that I genuinely think from a utility or from a interaction side, a lot of people are going to have fun interacting with just because of the competition and the social side of it. So I do think we'll see a lot of flood into that, and I am excited for them to launch. But this announcement of all the winners was not without some absolute sadness, which is we did have our first rug on Blast, and it's going to happen. And I do need to highlight this. I talk about a lot of things on this show, and as much as they are my opinion and I am suggesting that you go check out things, understand that while there are going to be areas that are going to be dangerous or they could rug, and so don't take anything that I say on the show as investment advice, but also don't take it as an investment or activities that you should follow based on your own thesis. The way that I am doing venture investments and the way I'm interacting with a lot of things fit the capital size that I have in my wallet, and they also fit my risk tolerance. And I also obviously am setting things up so that if something does go wrong, I have exposure in other places or I've hedged that in some way. Going and following a single trade without understanding the larger thesis of things around it are important. That said, with Blast, the way that I'm venture investing has been I'm only investing in the things that I think will be the absolute number one winners. I'm not putting money into anything that I think is a runner-up. That doesn't mean I don't think the products are good, but because of my capital stack and where I have my time and attention, that makes the most sense for me. That said, I will disclose that the one deal that I have certainly closed and I am an investor of is Juice Finance. Very bullish on them. Can't recommend them enough as somebody to look into. I will be using them as a user, obviously, because I do like what they have built. Make sure you check them out. But, I did mention risk because they are a company that got a ton of attention. Um, but I did not invest in them. I wish they had not deleted our chat logs. I wish I still had all the information within those chats. It was very clear looking back that there was a bit of like rush and push to make us invest. I did speak to Mooncat on the backside of this. I know he feels terrible. Obviously, anybody that talked about I feel terrible, anybody that lost money, this really sucks. They rugged for over 500 ETH in total. Absolutely just deleting their account, deleting every single chat they had with anybody who talked to them on the investment side. They deleted all the chats for people that were trying to partner with them and trying to help them out. And it's really, really, really sad to see this happen. I think also if you look at the tweets and if you looked at the messages, a clear pattern that emerged was them basically being like, hey, I need to know, pushing, rushing you. If you ever see that, if you ever see a project tweeting like, hey, you like, this is your last chance, or rushing you to get you in, you should not feel obligated. You should not be bend to the knees of, hey, you only have a few minutes, you only have, there's times running out. That's a terrible incentive. For you to be engaging with something, it should actually in your gut and in the vibes, which are two actual things that are, at least for when I do things, how I look at them, that should make sense, and it should feel good, and it shouldn't feel like a gamble to you. So Mooncat lost 12,500. I know people have lost between 500 to 25,000. We are seeing a lot of projects step up. Pac Moon, G Gamble, some others figuring out ways to reward or at least try to help some people make their money back in some way from this rug, which is amazing. It's amazing to see the ecosystem and the community step up to help the people that took this L. I did have a screenshot here of the public sale. I got a DM from the team and they were like, hey, there's only a little bit of time left until we get to our cap of 400. And then I think they moved it to 500. That was a red flag even. But I did pull this up because I was curious what their pre-sale looked like, or their public pre-sale looked like. And, again, you can see that there were a lot of people as of, I believe this was like with a day left into it. So 321 ETH invested, and then they got another 180, 119 in for them to get to that 500 mark, and then they just rugged. And I think part of this rug also has to come with the competition. Who knows? That could have played a part, but it is a shame. If you lost money, I feel bad for you. And let me know below if you have comments, what your thoughts are on this whole situation. I did want to pull up the number one thing that's been on my mind, and the number one thing that I have kept a solid eye on. Obviously, I'm an investor in Portal, and this has been a fascinating thing to see play out, which is the pre-market for the Portal token. Portal token trading just up to the $3 mark over the weekend, and also we've seen in other areas all the way up to $7.50 in pre-markets for the valuation of Portal. This is a fascinating opportunity. One, because of the attention, the cope, a lot of people realizing that this is not a pump and dump. There's a lot going on. I can tell you they have some tricks up their sleeves to come. So I'm not expecting the end of the Portal craze. As an investor, I'm again staying bullish. I can't talk about everything too openly, but I do think that you shouldn't fade Portal from the sense of, are they going to continue to have attention on them, right after they go live this week. So that's Thursday. Make sure that's on your radar. Thursday they go live. I just think there's a lot happening here. And I do think that with the Binance pool, they got all the way up to 8.6 billion staked within 24 hours. I think on the staking side, I think on the tokenomics side, on the games, on the cross compatibility, on the wallet side, there's just going to be a lot. And I don't think this is something worth fading. So I'm again, not going to sit here on my soapbox and scream, but I did want to highlight that. Also on the highlight, a couple of people in the chat, Freddie, good to see you. Hope you're well. Thank you for the call out. I'll be back in Crawley the first week of April. I'm going to 3 games in the first week of April: away game, a home game, and then I believe another away game. So 2 away games, a home game. I can't remember what games those are, but a large group of me and my friends are booking flights this week. Spin, also good to see you, GM. Good to see the whole 555 fam here. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Again, it's great to be doing this show. It's great to be back. Number one thing I will mention, if you are listening, reach out to me if you want to sponsor this show. Whoever said, like, literally for the next month, send me a dollar amount. Whoever sends me that, like, if the highest dollar amount's $5, I'll do it. I don't care. That's for the people that made it halfway into this show and want some opportunity. I'm not going to tweet about this anywhere. I'm just going to leave it in the show. I thought that'd be fun. Good way to reward people that are listening and engaging here. So if you are listening, let me know. Good to see you. Vinny, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Also, remember, go buy Vinny shit. It's sick. Hope everybody's good. We did highlight a few things earlier. But yeah, if you are listening, you want to have your company, your idea, whatever sponsored, just shoot me a DM or an email or whatever the highest number is, I'll do it. And also provide some transparency and proof behind that. If it's $5, that's the winner. So everybody bid low. Somebody who's not bidding low, and on the topic of Portal, is Creeps. Creeps are flying, absolutely flying. I don't think the sweeps are done, because I know a lot of people who are continuing to chat. I know a lot of DAOs who are continuing to chat. A lot of different funds are continuing to chat, which is that Portal Coin is going to cause Creeps floor to increase as people try to game this airdrop. Now it's very clear Creeps are getting rewarded for being part of the founding team of Portal. And some are speculating that this could be a Bored Ape Yacht Club level airdrop. And while I'm hesitant to agree with that, I don't think it's implausible to happen. Which is because I do think that, like, the actual bull case for Portal Coin as a dollar amount within the first week, pushing towards the $10 mark, is not insane to me. It's not insane. And so, if you get $1,000+ or 1,000+ Portal per creep, which I think it could be higher, you could be seeing this be a $20,000 to $30,000 airdrop per creep. I also think the floor pushing up to 5. I know it's pulled back a little bit, just under 5. I think it's like 4.5 right now. Does make things interesting, because at 5 ETH, you're looking at about $15,000 for a creep. And even if that airdrop is only for $10,000 to $12,000, we're only going to see these pull back to about the 1 ETH mark at the lowest, and there's opportunity to get out and claim. There's going to be it'll be a whole battle. I would say that things probably have leaked to the point where, because of that number and us not really flying through 5, I don't know if I wouldn't say things have leaked, but I like to see where things after parabolic moves up, where they stop. That 5 ETH point is a good area to kind of mentally note. And if we do push back towards the 4 or 3 ETH floor, I'll just tell you, I haven't done it yet, but I will be doing it. I will pick up probably 3 or 4 creeps as a play on Portal. Again, just transparency. Other people also agreeing with this take of, there are a lot of things coming. Don't fade it. If you missed it, if you didn't farm it, if you didn't do the pre-sale, that doesn't mean you should stop looking at. And again, this isn't also just a thing to talk about Portal. Replace Portal here with any other token. Replace it with Frame, DYM, Jupe, Ape, whatever it might be. You can't, if you did not engage with something, don't just turn your head to it and be like, all right, forget it. Reanalyze your mental position, your thought, your hypothesis on something at different intervals, or at least maybe even daily. It's a good opportunity to go and check out and see what Portal is doing, to go see what other companies are doing since your last opinion on them. I've missed numerous opportunities because I made an opinion and said, oh, well, they're never going to do anything with it. I could have bought Ape much lower, and I was like, well, they're never going to do anything with it. But if I had just gone and looked at AIPs a little bit more often, I would have understand that activity is picked up there, etc. Blah, blah, blah. So again, don't be a maxi. Don't set an opinion and hypothesis and walk away from stuff. Always come back, reanalyze, talk to other people, get their opinions as well. On that topic of opinions and maxi and paying attention, as somebody who was pretty bullish on ARB, this was a shocking thing to read this morning. G-Funk from Pixel Vault tweeting out, expect big changes coming to play Battle Plan and Reboot GG. The goal, above all, is to provide fun, frictionless, gas-free games for our players, and the on-chain experience of the last 2 weeks has made clear that Arbitrum Nova can no longer be home. Gas spikes of up to 60x are not sustainable for heavy on-chain games with gas sponsorship. Game offline equals suboptimal. Yes, game offline is not great, G-Funk. It's not good for anybody. It's great to see Nova continuing to onboard new projects and companies, but the same success has been an impediment to what drew us to the chain in the first place. Going bigger will accelerate opportunities to integrate the community more meaningfully into core blockchain services. A restructure is in order. Bigger and better things on the horizon much more soon. Well, did not see this coming. I genuinely, as a massive bag holder within the Pixel Vault ecosystem, thought that with Reboot, they had finally gotten everything perfectly right. And as somebody who is a very large gaming investor, a lot of investments and a lot of exposure through Ready Player DAO, and other things, I genuinely thought that Arbitrum was not going to have any issues at all. But there's almost a thing is like too much success, I think, within the ecosystem, where we are seeing layer 2s start to get pushed to their limits. And we are starting to see games that chose their partners as they start to scale hit these limits that the chains weren't expecting. And I've talked to Solana, I've talked to IMX, I've talked to many different chains and many different teams. And it's clear that they are working within, like, they're working within a thesis of what things look like when they get to certain levels. We haven't seen, 50 games that are all, using thousands and thousands of players at a time on a chain in scale yet. And it'll be interesting to see how things play out as we continue to onboard more people. But this is a head scratcher for me. And I just got to be straight with you. I don't know where they're going. I do sit on their core council committee, and it has been a conversation that I've seen come up all morning. I'll check real quick if there has been any updates from G-Funk, or if there's anything going on discussion-wise that I think should be chat on, if I can find where this is. Nope, there's absolutely nothing. People are still scratching their heads. And I think for good reason, right? Like, if Arbitrum's not home, if Arbitrum can't keep up, what can? I could speculate. I don't know. The big thing that the meme here is, I hope they go to Blast, because that would be awesome. And I would be more bullish for sure, but I don't know if that makes sense. But we'll see what happens. Should be on your radar. This is a very important one to keep an eye on, just because of the number of players and it being a massive pivot away from where they have put a lot of eggs in this race. I think we'll wrap up towards the end of the show with a couple of highlights for what your attention should be on for the rest of this week. ETH Paris wrapping up, and now this week, starting on I think it's started already, but the core of this really starting today into the weekend. I would say the biggest core events will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. ETH Denver happening this week. So you will see, I believe, some announcements, definitely some parties going on with different communities. Pudgy Penguins, I know, are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of music stuff. I can tell you that Koopa Troopa has been pretty strong on the timeline about things that are going on there. And I do think we are probably going to see a more VC-centric weekend I am expecting on the VC side, the deal flow side, angel investor, companies raising side, for this to be a battleground. Yes, that's dramatic, but the more I talk to people, the more funds that are emerging, people about to raise funds, companies who are raising that are flying out increases. If you are an angel investor or you're a fund, get in contact with me. Happy to help you with deal flow. Also happy to help you with other opportunities that are out there. Or if you're a company, I'm happy to connect you with investors, etc. The whole gambit there. You can reach me at hunter@futureproof.xyz, or you can shoot me a DM, or you can send me a transaction on the Ethereum blockchain, and I'll find it within my Etherscan. Another area that you should have your eyes on has been Proscenium, and this is an art blocks drop. A lot of OGs and a lot of influencers, a lot of people are screaming, "Hey, this is the 2.0 of Fidenzas." I will say this: love the art. I think it's beautiful art. I have not bought any. I've watched it fly, absolutely rip from the 0.5 area all the way up to 2, and now we are pulling back just a little bit. The last sale happening 52 minutes ago, 2 hours, 3 hours. It'll be interesting to see as volumes pull back, sales activity pulls back. We really didn't get all of the buying activity until Saturday morning. And again, watch out. A lot of hype has been put on this project from a Fidenza 2.0. And I hate to make investments on 2.0 thesis, because usually that just is a thesis for that original to go buy the original asset. Fidenza will always be the Fidenza. I don't think you can be like, there's Fidenza 2.0. I think there should, to make an investment on my side of things, I need to look at something and say, this is, Proscenium 1.0. This is Proscenium, not Fidenza 2.0. But I do think the art and the algorithm are beautiful. I speak about that because I do think that that is something I think about when I look at generative art, is the algorithm. Like, one, is the art cool, but is the algorithm producing unique art, diverse art, where within the collection there's a very common trend where I can look at two pieces that are super, super different, but I know they came from the same place. So like these squares, and then we have like the spheres. Would I know that these two pieces are from this collection, but they are so different and the algorithm merges them? I think these two are a little hard, but I do think, again, it shows range, and it does show a very cool flow, liquidness, vibrancy. I can get pretty art technical here, and by art technical, like art vibes technical. I do like the pieces. There are some that I do think would be insane, and like, this is sick. This is so sick. But yeah, this is on my radar. If we see these pull back towards the 1 ETH area, I'll take a gamble. But again, you have to understand, I just said that, and I'll highlight back to, the risk risk on Blast, and all the other things I talk about buying. Is my thesis on this is that I like the art, and for 1 ETH, I'm okay to lock up an ETH. And the way I'm treating money right now is, for every dollar I lock up into a non-liquid position, I'm treating it as like $3 to $5, because I believe that I can take $1 and trade that liquidly in a liquid market and turn that into 3 to 5x, whether that's using a service that allows me to use leverage, or allowing me to find tokens very early on at a low market cap, buy into them, and turn that money into multiples. Understand, on the venture side, you are locking your money up for 12 to 24, maybe even 36 months because of vesting. And that is a lot of money that you are taking out of your war chest. It also is the same with NFTs. If I buy an NFT that does not have a ton of bids into it, or there's not a ton of buy volume. So you can see here, within the last 5 hours, we've only had half a dozen sales. And the bid here, immediately, if I bought the floor, I'm taking a 0.6 ETH loss. If this does condense, if we do see the narrative pick back up, if we do see this become a more sustainable and liquid market, yes, I might buy in. But for me, 1 ETH gambling on art that I like, I'm totally fine to do that. I can rotate profits out of a line draw, or beef brothco, or from one of my doodles. I can diversify a little bit. But again, that's because my strategy allows me to take a couple of gambles or just to buy art that I like. This weekend, the thing that I bought because I had made some profits was a hoodie. This week, it could be a piece of art. Just noting that. The other thing that I'm looking at, because it's been on my radar, is Meridians. I think OG art block stuff is getting a little juicy on an ETH perspective as we see Ethereum prices rip. A lot of people, again, opportunity cost of where is your money. A lot of people that are holding items that aren't seeing their prices in ETH bid up currently are looking to rotate out and get exposure in other areas and make that money work. I do think that this means we are going to see a little bit of sell pressure on art, generative art pieces, and art, just straight up art that is not the bottom of the funnel. So like CryptoPunks are the bottom of the funnel. That's where all profits and all kind of like rail pieces end at. But Meridians, I think, are a subsidiary within the art block space that often can get forgotten. But I do think that it's a piece that I truly want to own. And if these start to push lower than the 5.6 floor they're at, I will, again, think about taking some ETH off the table and picking one of these up. For me, though, the number one grail and the number one thing I got to pick up this cycle is a punk. I've made my bets and strategy on how to get to those. And so these are all ancillary to that strategy. And I thought we would check in with the Chromie Squiggle market to see, after all of that FUD, all of that mention of how the floor is going lower and lower, how we are sitting. And it's very clear that we are resisting the that loan weight, and that we do have Chromie Squiggles still pushing above the 70th floor. And we do have bids dropping down a little bit, but we are seeing still activity within the types, notably within the fuzzies. And this is why I'm so bullish on the fuzzies, which is, even though the floors for things around the fuzzies have pulled back further and further, and we are seeing them go towards the floor, even ribbed even, we are seeing the fuzzies stay very strong. And I think that's notable. This is the time where if you're long-term bullish on squiggles, notice where the demand has stayed, what floors are high. And also, it's a good way to check out what buyers like from an aesthetic standpoint, and also where the loans in the future could be stronger. I think that's a dynamic that has to be thought about this market for sure, which is, if I buy this type within this collection, if I buy X versus Y, which one can I get a stronger loan against? This is a conversation within the punks community, I think, pretty strongly, which is like, do I buy the VR punk or do I buy the wild hair punk? What's the difference in, if I can get 30% LTV on both these loans, which loan is going to be high? Or am I going to get a different LTV against a different punk? It's a very interesting conversation. I think liquidity, bids, historic value are all things that are being calculated into this. And as we see more loan services actually start to offer that LTV suggestion based on that historic data, I think it also adds a benefit into those valuations, and was worth understanding. Like I said, guys, I'm so glad. It was a fun weekend. Had a really good time. A lot to talk about here, and I hope I got to everything. I know I didn't. Again, on the venture side, if you're an angel or an investor, or you are a company that's raising, get in contact with me. Love to chat with you and see if we can help you out. And yeah, that's the show for today. We'll catch you tomorrow. If you have questions or comments, let me know, and we'll catch you tomorrow. See ya. This is the Morning Mint, and I'm Hunter Roll. Peace, guys.